Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Butch Shorak, Options University. It's Monday, April 22nd, 2013. Access to this video is for educational and informational purposes only. Nothing contained in this video, website, or promotional material constitutes a promotion, recommendation, solicitation, or offer of any particular investment security or transaction. Options University provides educational services that are meant to teach you the risks and rewards of trading stocks and options, and we're not a service that tells you what to trade. We're not implying or guaranteeing any profit, and as always, do not trade with money that you cannot afford to lose. Exactly what did the market do last week? Well, we finally got that pullback that we were talking about. Looking at the Dow, the NASDAQ, the S&P 500, and the Russell 2000, we see that we have all negative numbers for the week, and we see that we dropped below the double digits that we had previous, at least as of last week. And we see that for the year to date, we've dropped down to, well, we got 11% still in the Dow, but we're in the NASDAQ, we're only up 6.2, the S&P 500 down, or up 9 for the year, and the Russell 2000, which was down 3.2%, the big loser for the week, is still sitting there at 7.4% for the year to this point. Remember, we are in the last week of April. Well, actually, we have 2 days in the next week. But we are drawing April to a close, and remember, these are, in general, the best 6 months of the year on average for the overall market. And April is the month where that 6 month ends, and many times we'll see a pullback in May. Earnings are coming in basically not great, not poor, kind of coming in right in the middle of what we would expect, and not a lot of excitement in the market over the earnings announcements that are coming through. Economic announcements for the coming week. Let's take a look at that, and we see that we've got existing home sales on Monday. As we look at Tuesday, we see that we've got PMI manufacturing at 858, and again we have new home sales taking place at 10 o'clock. Looking at Wednesday, we have durable goods orders, the only thing of importance to us on that day. On Thursday, which we have every single week, we've got our weekly jobs claim reports to see exactly what happened last week in that important job market. And then on Friday, we'll look at GDP, we'll look at consumer sentiment, both of those capable of moving the market. So as we get later into the week, I think we'll have more powerful economic announcements coming at. Looking at the beginning of the week, as we look at Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, nothing there that really I would expect to move the market into any great amount whatsoever. Let's take a look at the SPX and see what kind of a trend that we're in. Looking at the SPX, we see that we've been spending a lot of time around this sideways trend. Did basically drop down just a little bit, but we see we'll still manage to close above that 50-day moving average. Went down and tested it, and looking at Friday, well, in fact, let's look at a little closer chart. And as we see that, as we look at Friday, we see that we had a higher high and a higher low on Friday, showing us that this may have been a little bit of a bottom that we put in, and we could be going back up to look at that 1590 level that we had seen previously. Wouldn't surprise me at all to see another little bounce as we move into April and May and see how that all comes to pass. All right, we see that on Friday we were up 13 on the S&P, a nice gain for the day, but remember, for the week we still were in negative numbers as far as what we did for the week on the S&P, as we had that pullback back to that 50-day moving average. Looking at the Dow, let's take a look at the Dow and see what the Dow did during this same period. Nice little down cycle in the Dow, but still sitting on support. Didn't even make the 50-day moving average, as the Dow seemed to be the most resilient of our indexes during the past week. Looking at the NASDAQ, Apple basically disappointed, and we see that, we got the NASDAQ right there and had its effect on it. Look at well below the 50-day moving average, and we see that our little tech center is not doing everything we would like to see it do, as we've had a bit more of a pullback. But again, sitting on support on the NASDAQ. And remember, a big part of that is Applenomics. and what Apple does and what Apple where it has gone. Looking at the Russell 2000, we saw we ended up with a lower low than we had previously, and actually entered into new lows for the last 3 months. As we see, we're headed well below that 50-day moving average. Russell 2000 not showing a great deal of strength at this particular point. Our fear index, the VIX rate, pulled right back to that 15 level. As we see, the VIX actually spiked a little fear during this week as we had a bit of a pullback, but we only got up to about 18, not that big of a number to get to in the VIX. All right, let's take a look at some of the ETFs that we like to look at everything. We'll look at the TLT, which is our bond ETF, and we see, oh yeah, the market pulls back. What happens to that bond? Return to the previous highs for the last 3 months, and that is the relationship we expect out of the bond market. Now let's take a look at the XLF, which is our financial ETF. We see that it basically looks just like the S&Ps, as we ended up with a bounce up on Friday, getting higher highs and higher lows. XLF showing good strength, did pull back to that 50-day and actually gave us a new low on that 50-day moving average. Next, looking at oil, we see that oil pulling back. It actually looks like it at the pumps too. Kind of a relief for all of America as we see gas coming in a little bit cheaper, no longer such a atrocious, looking at approaching $5 a gallon. All right, next let's take a look at gold at Safe Haven. What has it done? Big pullback in gold, an amazing pullback with volume, and there was some news that caused that to take place. We'll see how long that lasts. If we see the market pull back, you can expect there will be a flight to safety in gold as we go into the summer with a market pullback. What kind of volume did we have this week on the pullback? Yeah, we pulled some volume. We actually were a little higher than expected as we looked at this last week with the spider, the SPY, showing us that the volume was pretty heavy on the market as we had our pullback. So those of you that are gold members, stick around. We'll go through our list of stocks to watch. And for those of you that are not gold members, if you'd like to see more free videos, go to www.optionsuniversity.com/free gold. And with that thought, that is the week that was and the week that's going to come, with some economic announcements towards the end of the week. And we see that we finally got that pull back to the 50-day moving average on the S&P. So this is Butch Shorak, Options University, Monday, April 22nd, 2013. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here.